Oh, Lord. All right. The 3 years of federal income tax returns, that's something you are going to have, because prior to your starting up your business, you will have been filing taxes. If this is a construction company that you are coming to have certification with, you're going to provide us with 5 years of your personal individual tax returns. You're going to fill out a 4506T. This simply says if we're not getting the information from you, we can reach out to the IRS and ask for it. But now that all of you know that your tax returns are required, whether it's 3 years or 5 years, you're going to make the effort to go through the file drawers and get all this organized. Personal net worth statements are required for construction firms in all new DBE and ACDBE applications. When you're in the application itself, if a personal net worth form is required because you're a construction company, that's a download. You'll download it, you'll complete it, you'll sign it. I don't remember which one it is. At this point, with the city, you do not have to be notarized. With DBE, you do have to be notarized. You'll have it notarized, you'll scan it, and you'll upload it. And I haven't talked about scanning. Please don't send us JPEGs. The driver's license comes out this big no matter how hard we try. And that all delays the process. After applications are submitted, the process can take approximately 90 days from the day we receive all documents. And I've already said several times, try and upload everything. The more information you give us, the better it is for you and the better it is for us. We don't have to keep reaching out for more information, and it doesn't prolong the processing, because until we have everything, your actual processing of this new application has not begun. So it's 90 days from the day we get everything, and we can issue as many as 3 requests for information. So now you're seeing the length, and we're all anxious to get this certification. So we want to get, with this application, we want to get this in for as quickly and as completely as we can, and this is why you're going to give us everything at the time you submit the application. Your application is checked to make sure we have all the documentation. We need to review this. Documents are thoroughly audited. In the case of certain, especially construction, supplier, there are a number of other certifications that you may be requesting. There will be a site visit required to the location of the business. If the business is trucking, we'll go to your office, but we'll also go see where the truck is parked. If approved, your certification is valid for 5 years, and as I indicated a while ago, you're certified on year 1. On year 2, 3, and 4, you're required to provide a no-change affidavit. This is, in fact, on your site. It's a form. It's in B2G Now. It's called C2, which is where you're submitting your application. Once you have your certification and your account is accepted and created, you will then provide us with yearly updates. The updates could be you moved. So you're going to need us to provide us with that information. You're going to provide us with the gross receipts for the previous year. That doesn't mean we want any tax returns. If you have affiliates, we do need tax returns for the affiliates. If you own any other companies, we need to see those. But for the M, W, V, and B, the only thing that's required on the NCA, if there are no changes in ownership or location, then you're going to simply put in the gross receipts, sign it, electronically sign it and submit it, and you're done. It's not a lengthy process. It's not very labor intensive. Recognition of outside certifications. The Chicago Minority Supplier Development Council and the Women in Business Development Council, we accept what we call, it's called an outside certification, and what it is it's an abbreviated application. because you've already been cleared through one of these two entities as being either minority-owned or woman-owned. So we will still probably ask you for some more information, but it may not be as much as it would be if you were coming in directly to us. The vendors must submit, here we go, an annual no-change affidavit. You must notify the Certification and Compliance Division regarding organizational changes, business name changes, and ownership changes within 10 business days of the change. All MBE, WBE, VBE, and BEPD vendors must recertify every 5 years. Submit your request for expansion of services. Now you're all certified, and you say, well, I'm a painting contractor, and all I have is painting and wallpapering. But now I'd like to have painting of bridges. First thing that popped into my head. You're going to submit on your firm's letterhead a letter that indicates the code you're looking for bridge painting. You're going to include any required new licensure. You're going to give us a copy of current or perhaps bids or future contracts that you're already putting out saying, I can do this work, I'm in the process of being certified, but I'm already doing it or I'm already bidding for it. Any need for insurance, and a current resume. Because we want to see how you acquired this newfound expertise. These are our sister agencies. It should be in your packet there. It's also on the city's website, the DPS, Department of Procurement Services website that's, I believe, in the beginning of this PowerPoint presentation, the www.cityofchicago.org/procurement. You can find this listing there. The 10 reasons applications are denied. Unsubstantiated or questionable ownership or control. Unclear description of critical functions and who's responsible. Company cannot substantiate where and or how startup funds, expansion capital was initiated. Outside secondary employment takes the majority of the MWVBE, BEPD, DBE enterprises' time each day. The company is not located in one of the 6 county regions. The point of contact did not respond to requests for information in a timely manner while we're reviewing your application. Inconsistencies with the applicant firm name amongst various documents. Problems with contracts, missing, incomplete, not signed or executed by qualifying owners, or have no corresponding proof of payments. I mean, you're telling us you worked on a contract, but you didn't get paid? I mean, the first thing you're going to do when you're through with your job, send them an invoice. You want that money. Required documents are not attached, or no explanation is given as to why the documents are not available. This is where I say, if there's something being required, please upload a document on the firm's letterhead that says, I don't have this because I'm new. It's not something I chose to create. Whatever the situation is, give us an answer. And if you didn't give us the 3 or 5 tax years required, we'll reach out to you. We're going to ask you for them. But if you're not going to give them to us, we can't continue to review your application. And then if you want more information, you can check out the Facebook. You can go to YouTube. And the YouTube has this workshop filmed online with actually our senior officer, Cordell McGeary, who told me my mic wasn't on. And it's a good thing to listen to down the road because you will hopefully not forget everything I've told you today. But you may think, what did she say? Well, if you take the time, go to YouTube, go to the Procurement Services homepage, go to the YouTube icon toward the lower right-hand side of the page. You click on it. In the search area, you'll put in how to become certified MBE. this workshop with Cordell will pop up for you to see if you have any of these questions down the road because, you know, it kind of popped out of your head. And now it's time for me to let you have questions. Bottom? Do I have any questions? Okay.
So my question is, I'm a startup and I'm doing a spa. Excuse me. So right now I'm in aesthetics, and so I would perform a lot of them from my home, and I don't have a brick and mortar yet. So would I use my physical home address?
You'd use your physical home address if, in fact, that's where the entity was located.
For now.
But it would also need the appropriate licensure. So, yes, you could use your home. I mean, you have a space created there as a spa. And that's what, in fact, as site visit officer, a field analyst may come out to view.
Okay. Okay. Thank
All
you.
right, good. Anybody else have a question? The gentleman there?
Hi, my name is Joe.
Hi, Joe.
My question is, I'm not a startup.
Okay.
I have a business that I operated, a contracting business, a construction contracting business that I've operated on an assumed name for 5 years. Just recently, I changed the organization structure and registered with the state. I have a different name. Going to get the state registration, I had to change the company's name. The company will operate a little bit differently than the company before. So I may dissolve the first company and going into the second company. What kind of information would I be required to bring? Would I also need to bring in information from the first company, the assumed name business, or just the startup from there?
Well, you're actually looking to certify the new business, the
Right.
new firm with the new company. So we would need all of the documentation from that new entity.
Okay.
You would provide us with some of the information along the way on what you did, how long, you know, perhaps bank accounts, and this would be specific to his business. It may or may not work for everybody here, and since it could be so detailed for you specifically, I'd be glad to discuss this with you after.
Okay.
But I know that there are some others who have questions, but
Sure.
yes, we're actually looking at the new company, but the old company or the sole proprietorship is where you got all your experience and expertise. So that would be added into the new company when we do the review. When I say a detailed chronological resume, that's going to tell me where you acquired the expertise to own the new business that's just being created.
Okay.
So, you know, it's a yes and yes, but again, you have to decide which company is going to be certified.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have 2 questions.
Okay?
First of all, I'm a visually impaired person. I'm legally blind and considered statutory blindness. The first question is that I receive Social Security benefits, so I don't have tax returns. When you asked about, the tax returns, what do I do for that?
Well, you'd provide us proof of your benefits. You know, you'd create a statement, you'd tell us the officers, those reviewing the application, exactly what you just indicated here in this situation.
Okay.
You would state that on the application.
All right, the second question is that when I went to the 8th floor to the procurement office itself,
Okay?
the person there explained that I might need NACIS, like a North American.
Right, the NAICS codes.
Right. What is that abbreviation for, and how do I find the codes?
The codes are available to you as you're in the application. The NAICS codes are what you are certified in. Those are your specific categories. We can assist you with your need for finding these codes down the road. You're welcome to call us as you're going through the application. And then depending on what the service or product your business is going to provide, and we can give you a little help as to where that's going. But it is in the application. There is a link.
One last question.
Sure.
Speaking of the certification, now you mentioned a timeline far as deployment history, but I have the academic and training for my specific business. So how does that affect it?
That's what you're going to put on your resume. You have the training. You have the degrees or the certifications that qualify you to provide this, again, I'm just going to use product or service that you wish to be certified in. And so you're going to provide us with all that information. You know, when I say detailed chronological work history, that should also tell me, you know, if you're not a senior ready for retirement, that you acquired your BA, your Bachelor of Arts, or your MBA from such and such university. Those are the things we want to see on your resume. Your resume is created similar for this certification, similar to that of which you would be providing if you were going for a job interview. So think along those lines. You know, and if you don't have certain things, we will work around it. If we have questions, we'll ask you the question. If we say, well, what does this certification entail? And you would give us a more detailed explanation. So, you know, again, no two certifications are alike. No two resumes are ever the same. You know, but we're willing to work with you to make this happen if, in fact, you are going to be out there and be a viable entity. Does anyone else have a question? That young man, please. Thank you, Jackie.
You indicated that every 5 years you have to recertify. Does
Correct.
the recertification process literally entail resubmitting this application or whatever the current application is in full?
No. The recertification process is, again, an abbreviated application because what you've done is you've created a company. You have a company, it's a working entity, you became certified, year one. So you provided us with your article, I'm just going to use a corporation, your articles of organization, your stock certificates. Nothing has changed. We don't need to see that again. It's already in the system. It's there, it's locked. So now you're going to be recertifying. You're going to be providing us with, let's use a construction company, 5 years of tax returns, corporate and individual. You're going to be providing us with a current equipment list because your company has grown, hopefully, over these 5 years, and so has your equipment. A lease for your current location. You may have just moved just before your recertification application was due. So this is where you're going to tell us. So there are still documents that will mirror what you're providing with this first application, but what you're doing is updating your account.
Understood.
But no, it is not as lengthy.
Okay. And then if I could I ask one more question?
Of course.
Regarding the top 10 reasons for application denial, one was questionable ownership. Can you give me an example of exactly what that means?
Questionable ownership could be something where you're saying, I bought this scaffolding company, and I paid $10 to Mr. Smith. But it's questionable.
Sure.
How do you get all this equipment, and is Mr.
Sure.
Smith still, you know,
Understood.
a part of the company? So what questionable means, you created the company somehow. You're running it. It needs to be 51% or more owned and operated by that individual, minority, female, veteran, or person with disabilities.
Understood.
So when it's questionable, it's again, you're not providing us with documentation that shows me how you acquired the business, especially if the business is leasing equipment.
Sure.
Especially if it's construction. So there's, as I'm talking about this now, I know there's a lot of very specific things you may have on your mind that you want to ask. I'm glad to answer anything now. You can also call in. You all got my favorite card, as I said early on, DPS alerts. Everyone should sign up for this. At the bottom of this is a phone number, 312-744-4900. you're going to call into that number. If you have a question as you're going through the application, press the number 1. A certification officer such as myself will come on the line and will be able to answer that question. What is it that you're asking for? What is it that I can provide? What do I need to upload? I only have this. Is this good enough? Well, it's a question you have, and we're willing to work with you to answer that at the time you have it. You just, again, my favorite card, you have to call into the 4900 and press the number 1 for certification.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Before you leave, I just want each and every one of you to know that we're here to help you. So in any way that we can do that, we would love to do that. On the evaluations you have, please let us know if there's some things that you would like to know about that you do not know about. If you're coming to more classes, you may learn some of the things that you put on there. But there are some people who have been to other classes and maybe you did not know that we covered that in a different course. I gave on the right-hand side here each and every one of you a copy of the schedule. So feel free to take advantage of more of our free courses.
Absolutely.
And then last but not least, did you get a vendor fair card? You didn't have that card.
No, I did not.
There's a vendor fair card. You may just want to come to our vendor fair on May 15th to network with some of the vendors that are there, to come to some of the workshops that we have there put on by outside entities, because we will have some, if you're starting a small business and you want to know about funding and that kind of thing, we will have some workshops there. So pick up a vendor fair card if you did not get one and register through the website www.vendorfair.info. And anything else, Sonia, before you close?
Well, there is a workshop following this one.
Yes.
Which
Yes,
if
doing business with the city.
absolutely important. Anything you can come to. You know, anything that you're available within time or you're going to be down here and it's a day that there's a workshop, I strongly encourage everyone to come in. You're going to make contact with another city employee, you know, that's in the department in which you're, in my case, choosing to be certified with. You may have questions along the way. If we can't help you, we will find that person to help you with whatever your concern is down the road, because we've all made this contact. So you all have gotten to know me at this point, and I'm glad to have your phone calls. And when you call into 4900, you're welcome to ask for me, or a very confident and qualified officer will pick up that call and be able to answer your questions.
Absolutely.
So never feel that there isn't more to learn, especially just coming into this program. The vendor fair is an amazing opportunity for those of you, especially in construction, IT. Jackie can speak to some of the
Professional services. Every one of our city departments, the state departments, the county departments, our sister agencies, and our assist agencies. There are some assist agencies that can give you a little bit more information than the employees can give you about what you need to do. They will be represented, and they will have a table there as well. It's well marked, so you know who those folks are. And then last but not least, if you're sort of on your way and know what you want to do and have your things, and you will be certified within a short period of time because you are already in the workings of it, there are prime companies there that are looking to tell you about the opportunities they have within the next months, years. Some of them have 5 years, 10 years, and there's billions of dollars out there. Because I got one that's coming that has a project over a 10-year period that is worth billions of dollars. And he is looking to tell you about opportunities where you can work with them.
absolutely. Everywhere you go, and I say this from having a huge marketing background prior to certification, everywhere you go, you need to make a friend, you need to meet someone, and you need to tell them what your business does. Because if that person doesn't need your product or service, they may know someone. And it's good, it's kind of a good feeling to know, I'm selling myself. You know, maybe. I mean, the spa is not something that is going to be utilized by a construction company necessarily. But they may choose to do gift certificates at some point. So you're making that contact. Maybe that's the presentation you make to that prime. And obviously not necessarily at the event, but down the road, because you're trying to market your products and services.
Well, I can take it a step further. Show you the person that mentioned about the spa. You said that construction person might not want to know. Then again, they might. Mm-hmm. Because we're talking about money, millions of dollars that is at the airport. They're building hotels at the airport. The hotel may want a spa. Mm-hmm. So there you have an opportunity to step into that platform. But you wouldn't know that if you weren't around these people are telling you what's coming up. And like I said, I can't be more, and I just came into this avenue a year ago, okay? So I will tell you, I cannot be more persistent with you in saying you need to be around it to know how fast you have to move to get to where you're going. Because it's all about knowing where I'm going, what I need to do, and how quick I need to get there.
Absolutely.
Because opportunities are happening every day, and they're moving every day. So you want to make sure that you're in the line with the opportunity so that you can be ready to move.
Mm-hmm. And it might, the opportunity may not be with the city of Chicago. It could be with CPS. It could be with some of the other agencies that accept this MWV&B certification. It's really the M and W that the other agencies would utilize. CPS, Chicago Park District, they all utilize this certification.
Right.
So,
and then you can hear about, maybe it behooves you to certify with those that don't take hours, and you have to recertify with them. But once you've done it once, you're ready, because everything you should have, it should be in folders or your files.
PDF.
You can produce
PDF.
that one.
PDF.
Yeah, you probably would have to pay the $250 again, but now you have certified certifications. You're ready to go. Whomever you need to get in with, you can. And let me just also say, we don't have any here because we're fresh out, but at the vendor fair, we'll be fresh off the press of our buying guide. It is also online, but the buying guide is the best opportunity to know what's out there and what's coming down the pipe for the next year and a half. We do them for, every quarter. We put out a new buying guide, but it is prorated out so that you can see all of the work and all of the money of the departments. It's broken down by departments and by agencies of where the money is, what they need done, what type of service it is, whether it's construction, professional services.
Thank you for coming.
So, you can put your evaluation on the table. So, with that said, I'm going to let you all go, but make sure you fill out your evaluations, put them on the table, and
That's a good question.
Absolutely.
I am going to
Okay. Okay. Well, W because it's not owned by you?
no, it's my phone.
Okay.
It's working right now, but this is her license.
Which I can't read because I just ran my cheaters.
I'll let you use mine. My question is this.
So this is janitorial services?
Yes, this
Okay.
is DBA. Is that?
Doing business as? No.
Oh, that's what I was curious.
That's fine. That's not DBE, that's
So
DBA.
when I
Doing
pay the
business.
fee for those, it'll be $250 for the minority and $250 for the
One
woman.
fee.
That's it. And it'll be for both.
Yes.
And I can do
So as I
that.
said, you remember I said, if you're looking, there's 4 categories. There's the M, the W, the B, and the B. If you qualify for all 4, You check off all 4. The B requires the Schedule G, which that young man will have to provide.
I'm just gonna go with the M and the B. I'm
The M
sorry,
and
the M and the W.
M and the W. Is she currently working?
Yes, they're working right now.
Yeah, but she's doing this business?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, my pleasure. And stay if you can for the next.
I'm thinking about it
There's
right now.
always something to learn. That's all, I mean, I've been here for decades, and all I can tell you is I learn something new every week at least. Yes, absolutely. But there's workshops. Look at what other workshops are available. Look at what other events are available. Cleaning. Please try to go to that event.
Booklet that they were
But
talking about.
you go grab the buying plan.
Yes, I
Okay.
saw it at the United Center.
Okay.
The city procurement
Okay,
office was there.
okay, yes, they were.
Incredible.
Yes, Victoria Wright was there that day, yes, absolutely.
I just wanted to ask you about your list.
Mark it, okay, like the bird.
Yeah, I have some questions, but I don't want to tie you up
No,
right now.
you're
Maybe
right, let's get them answered, and before our person comes in, just give me a moment, can I answer a question?
Oh, yeah, big one.
Okay,
So many workshops out there, 3
No,
that
I'm
started
gonna
there too.
email you.
Oh.
I've kept trained.
oh,
so
all right,
that's
you get
I'm-
going, you can
okay.
call, please, just call into 4900. You
Okay.
can talk to the officer that answers, you know, if I'm not there, anyone can answer the question. I say that because, you know, sometimes we're out of the office, sometimes we're doing workshops.
Right.
And then you've got questions you
Okay.
want answered so you can get going.
Okay.
Don't let me hold you up.
No, I won't.
All right,
Thank you
thank
so
you
much.
so
It was
much
very
for
good.
coming.
So this workshop started there too,
It started at
and
2.
it's certification
How to become certified.
certified, right? Okay, when is the next one?
It would be on, everybody, love this group. So this is July 24th.
Oh, July 24th.
But there is, and
There's something like that.
yes, it's out there. I'll walk you out and you can have it. But as I indicated, going into this, you can go to the YouTube video
YouTube video.
at this website.
Okay, man, small letter.
Well, I know, believe, and I can still read this, but what was on that photo was not working for me. Look at the you're gonna, the YouTube page is gonna come up, you're gonna click on the icon, it's in the lower right-hand corner, and then the page is gonna come up, the search area is at the top. How to become certified
Okay.
MBE.
Okay.
And Cordell McGeary, the young man that you saw come in a little, or you missed him? Oh, my mic wasn't working, and so he came down, it didn't help. But, yes, he's gonna be doing the workshop.
In July.
No, he's going to be doing it online, you're gonna be able to view the YouTube video. He's the individual that's recorded. This workshop is recorded. What you missed today, you can watch, takes about 40 minutes.
Okay.
And you can stop and start it, go back, start it up again. Yes, ma'am. I have a quick question. Sure. I have a quick answer.
It's Sonia, right?
Sonia.
I'm Shakina Strong.
Nice to meet you.
A question about the construction. It says 5 years, so that means is that same for construction that my business had to be in business for 5 years and I have to show growth?
Tell me about your business.
Right now, I have a real estate investment firm, so right now I'm wholesaling, I'm flipping, and that's what I want to
So
grow
you
into
have a real
development.
estate license?
No,
You're not
I'm an
licensed?
investor.
You're an investor? Okay. So you're really doing the renovations? Okay, so we don't care how you got your property. You're doing the renovations, so you're going to prove to us that you can do construction.
Okay.
So there needs to be licensing for the firm, a contractor's license. There needs to be insurance because you have equipment and people.
Okay, so for me, I should get my GC, because right now I hire out. I hire out and I project manage them.
And we get that, but that doesn't lend itself to a lot of value added. That's sort of like brokering. So we really need to see, do you have a specialty? Do you have somebody? Can you do carpentry? Can you do painting? Do you pick up a roller?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I
I'm
Yeah,
just
and-
throwing this out there,
yeah, and
but
then-
I want you to start thinking, these are the things you're going to be telling us.
Okay.
I work alongside of some of my
So I should
contractors.
get my GC. 'Cause someone was
It's
saying-
not, you should, it's up to you. We're not going to encourage you to spend your money if there's no benefit for you. So this is something you have to weigh
It
out.
was something, but people have been talking
Okay.
about it. But I was like, well, I have to show that I'm doing it. I want to get credit for it other than just project managing it, it's
Sure.
my project.
But you could also, on the onset, just be certified as a construction project manager, because that's what you've been doing all these years. That's what your resume is going to state.
Okay.
So, do you see where I'm going? It's always better to start out small and grow it than it is to say, I want 16 NAICS codes. We choke. We go, no, please don't do this to us. Because you can't be doing, it's a startup. You don't have equipment, you don't have employees, you're not doing all this construction, demolition. Where are your where's your demolition equipment? It's all of those kinds of things that we look for. So, but, go about, you're doing this, you're thinking, it's in your mind, you're starting to act on it. So now, of course, and you will. You'll get going, this will get started, and you'll have, it's you yourself, the business. There you go, you start up capital, as I said. It's all about, the application is a story about your business. How'd you get the experience? Where'd you get the experience? What equipment do you have? Where is it located? If it's not the corporate tax returns, it's your personal tax returns. It says, I've been working in the industry. I have 1099s from Walsh Construction. I've been doing this with Walsh Construction. Those are the kinds of things we look for. All right, my pleasure. I'm sorry you've been waiting patiently.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I am a registered interior designer.
Okay.
I would consider it licensed because I've had my 4 years.
Sure.
Do you ever have need for?
That's something we don't research. So, Jackie talked about the buying plan. If there isn't one, I don't think there is one here, but there is one in the DPS, the Procurement Services homepage. It's called Buying Plan. Take a look. See if anybody is using that. The way you could be utilized would be if an engineering or an architectural firm were looking to, was a
Developers or people like that.
developers, yes, any of that. But where they would be looking for a subcontractor, so it would be engineering, architectural, well, more architectural than engineering, because it's a white man-owned firm. They can't be certified, but there's a compliance plan there. So they need to satisfy the requirements of that contract by utilizing a minority and a woman-owned business. Can you assist them with that? This is where, A, you can because you have the qualifications, you're telling me you're licensed, you've been in the business. B, this event that we're going to, you would meet these architectural firms. You could speak to the construction people and say, who have you worked for? You could also look on the Procurement Services website, previously awarded contracts. Have a nice evening. Previously awarded contracts. That'll show you who the prime was. Prime is almost always a non-eligible, a white male-owned company. And everybody's like, oh, I can't believe you're just spitting that out. I'm like,
No, but
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Exactly.
And I'm one of the privileged ones, I get so excited. The privileged ones that, has been a part of this and have watched companies grow to the point of they have gotten too big for the program. We've had to push them out. How amazing is that?
Yeah, okay.
To grow from something like this, an opportunity that they wouldn't have had.
Normally.
Right,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
your opportunity is there for the interior work, for the design work, if you can find that right connection.
Right.
Especially at these kinds of events.
Right.
Because everybody there it's all about certification.
So, great. And so I am home-based.
Okay,
My business is.
no problem.
I shouldn't have a problem.
Chicago?
Yeah.
You may want to go up to room 800 and see if you're going to decide to do this application. If you decide that there's, okay. I mean, again, I'm not telling anybody, go spend your $250. We have plenty of applicants. But the point being is, if this is some benefit to you, stop in room 800 and see if you need a home occupation license. Because that's something that the city does and doesn't require, again, depending on your specialty area, the product or service.
So
Room
can
800.
it be considered on-site for whoever is gonna,
Well, you could say, not only am I certified, I'm licensed by the city of Chicago. Well, it gives you an element of validity. Does it make sense? It's like, I'm a real entity. I'm recognized by the city, it
I've
legitimizes
been in
you
business
things.
for 15 years.
There you go.
So I've always worked from home.
Okay.
So,
But now you're looking for certification, so now, we're going into, do I need that next level of accreditation being the license? And you need to go and ask that question. You're gonna ask that question, doesn't mean you're gonna buy it right then and there. You're gonna say, my firm is, I work out of home, my firm is located in something, something, this is what I do I need a business license? I'm going to be applying for certification. They'll tell you yes or no, we'll go from there.
is there a seminar for this?
Yes, there is. If you have time, if you're
Yeah, I
parked
think
and
I'll
it's not,
stay.
and you should. It's what I always say, stay because it's gonna be more info.
Need this for Gary. Here you go, Gary. And you press down on the middle button till you see the 64. Okay.
And then you can ask that question.
Is this for the last one?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Get the handout, I guess.
And you're not gonna stick to the next? It could be good information. You wanna get going?
No, actually, I had a real
All
parking
right.
issue.
Oh dear, okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, nobody's called me that all day. You're a truck man. So we're gonna do, I'm sorry?
Dump trucks.
Okay. You got equipment?
Sold my equipment.
Okay.
I need to find out from, this department you were saying about acquisition. Possibly hiring. I already called them from. Buying some more equipment.
So you know what you're referring to? You mean like some of our equipment that's out for auction?
Something like that, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's something maybe Gary can broach on that.
Yeah,
Talk
Gary.
about acquisitions and any of this, this is
No,
Gary Bell.
no,